For this, okay? Yeah, all right, we should be good to go. So let me start with the portal examples, and then I'll even go into some of the tools within ServiceNow for the communications team that you can also distribute to all kinds of other owners of various topics or subject matter experts, whatever that might be. So
and we're still looking, just to interject, we're looking probably an August launch.
Yeah,
so I
that's
think
okay.
we're probably leaning more towards News Center for our news content.
Great.
At first we were a little bit leery because we really like the engagement pieces. We get a lot of engagement from our comments and our likes and that kind of stuff. And so when we first started talking about this a couple months ago, it was like, well, if we want those functionality, we need to do it a different way. But I think seeing the roadmap that you have makes us feel a little bit better that it may be a short amount of time where we would have to go without that, and it may be worth it in the long run to go with News Center over, communities or whatever.
Sure. So yeah, and that makes sense. I was actually just briefing our product team last week, refining their requirements for these news interactions. And based on your timing, it might be worth waiting for that August release to come out to start using them. But I will say that other customers have configured those themselves for years. Okay. And so the ServiceNow portal, the user interface and the functionality is extremely flexible. And so I'll show you customers that did this years ago, well before we had the actual bespoke news and news center. Our news center is actually designed to look a lot like what some of these customers built because they were our design partners. So we'll start with that. Just kind of going in random order. This is the My Disney Today portal that they rolled out for 250,000 employees. This is over 2 years old, although they've continued to iterate on it. But one of the main drivers that you already spoke about was customers trying to create a more cohesive experience between their intranet site and ServiceNow. And honestly, I've done workshops where I interviewed people and they said, oh, I wasted 45 minutes of my time trying to get help with my broken laptop because I went to our intranet site. I didn't know about ServiceNow, or it didn't know about ServiceNow. So that is one of the key drivers for customers to unify these two experiences together. But what you can see here is they have the news and they have their favorite resources. That's also the place you can go to get help from HR and from IT. Now, they allowed their employees to design this, so it's very well adopted. They actually had 12 intranet sites they replaced. 7 were on WordPress, 2 were on SharePoint, 2 were on Igloo, 1 was something else. Those all had, because they have all these different companies. They have ESPN, Pixar, Star Wars, and they had to maintain all those sites separately too, which was a burden. So they had about 30% adoption before, and now they have close to 100% adoption with this. And it's the first thing that everybody sees when they open their browser in the day. But it's extremely, it's not just service management, it's also the key news. And they cited our hyper personalization capabilities as reasons they didn't select Unily or other platforms they were looking at, because we have all this information about somebody from an HR perspective, as well as an IT perspective. For example, what equipment they might be issued. And all of that can be used in a composite way. So you mentioned information from different places like Active Directory, as well as, you have HR systems. You can build these composite profiles in ServiceNow and use our audiences, which can be multi-factor as well, to create very, very personalized experience. Now, the next example here looks completely different. And this is you'll start to see the flexibility of our user interface. And so this is Organon. This is a healthcare company. We anonymized this, but they're going to be my next speaker on my February 6th special interest group call. And so they went live about 6 weeks ago. You can see it's personalized. So it's, good afternoon, Hannah. They're using Workday here. They're using us in IT and HR and other areas of their business. So it's the one place to go for personalized news and announcements, as well as to get help from all those different departments. But you're also able to bring in tasks from many different systems, including approval requests. So you can bring in approval requests through what's called Approvals Hub, which is part of Employee Center Professional. So people can see them and take action on them in ServiceNow, both the portal as well as mobile. And then not only can you curate content and target it to people, but the platform can actually recommend content to people based on their behaviors. So what is a particular person searching for? What content is she clicking on? And then machine learning can start to recommend content to her, just like when you buy something on Amazon and it goes on to say, hey, people also were interested in these types of things.
Yep.
Okay. They have hundreds of content managers. And so a key part of what Thomas will be talking about will be how they manage, microsites or pages that they still have in SharePoint and the microsites that they now have in ServiceNow as well. Okay. This is Paramount. They've also been a speaker on my special interest group in the past. Paramount had 20 different intranet sites. Most of those were based on SharePoint portal. They consolidated all of those into ServiceNow. They call their portal Murray, which was the middle name of their founder. And it's, again, one place for news and events, as well as to get services from HR and IT to access your favorite applications in a very, highly integrated way. And you're getting this sense now of how flexible the UI is.
Right. I was going
Now,
to say,
this is
yeah,
a
the fact
customer.
that this is ServiceNow is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And impressive, that this is out of the box. So are they doing, is this is this just all front end coding to make this happen, or how, like, what's that? And I guess this is me coming from SharePoint world, right? And you got the on-premises world where, we did a ton of customization and saw a lot of custom code kind of stuff versus now moving into SharePoint Online world where it's all kind of front end. Where does ServiceNow fit in to make something like this happen?
Yeah, sure. So every portal is based on what we call our service portal technology framework. And that's, HTML, CSS, Angular, Bootstrap, and some other things that customers can use. Now, there are certain utilities where you can specify, okay, what are the colors for my header? What are the colors for my header menu font? What are the colors for my buttons and that font? So there's a lot you can apply from a theme perspective, just sort of point and a click. You can do a lot of styling with CSS as well. The truth is, employee-centered professional, I think of that as independent from the user interface. Employee-centered professional, I think of as features and functionalities. It's things like content publishing for targeted communications, campaigns for omni-channel multi-phase informational campaigns. It's things like App Launcher, Approvals Hub, and all that stuff. That's what really kind of drives the behavior and the content that you see. But the user interface is all driven by the service portal technology framework. And that's what gives customers so much flexibility in terms of the size and the shape and the arrangement and color of widgets, whether or not they have rounded edges or not. And so that's where you have that. Now, a lot of customers are essentially taking EC Pro and rolling it out of the box as well, because we've made some advancements. But when you aspire to have something that's very unique, you can do that. Now, your partner should know how to do it. I don't know. I know INRI has been interested in this space for a while. I'm not sure that I've heard of them actually getting to the point where they have a customer that's replaced their intranet. We do have other partners such as Thirdera and Cask and New Rocket who have done this lots and lots.
Right.
Okay. And we have customers that are just doing it themselves. Now, this is Pepsi. This is not Pepsi's actual portal, but this is the design they put forth with us recently, and they'll be building this out over 2024. It's a little video. I won't play the whole thing for you, but this is Skechers shoes, another company that was on my special interest group call. This is another New Rocket design. You might see some similarities between this and the HJF example that you found on the community site. And that's because New Rocket and Thirdera, they also offer templates. So if you want, you can spend 6-8 weeks doing a unique design with user experience workshops, etc. Or you can look at one of their templates and say, hey, I really like template number 2. Can we just go with that?
Do you know, are the New Rocket templates something that we could, like, do we have to use New Rocket as our consultant to be able to use their templates? Do you know? I know that's maybe not a question for you, but
probably yes.
Okay, I would assume so, but
yeah. I'm pretty now. They have some other tools like Orbit, which does provide at the moment some easier ways for these distributed content creators to manage the content on their microsites and whatnot. And that you can buy on the ServiceNow store with probably just a handful of implementation hours.
Okay.
That's something we'll get into as we get into the weeds of some stuff you're looking for. We can talk about it a little bit more, but essentially when somebody is on their page, and actually you might see this on the HJF example, if you zoom into the upcoming events, you may see a little edit button there. And that's only visible to the person who has the ability to modify the upcoming events.
Okay.
And so they can initiate that content creation right from the portal, which can be really nice. That's something we're also looking at putting in place this year through a product perspective. And it just is sort of a navigational aid, if you will.
Right.
You don't have to remember, oh, I need to go to the back end, go to content publishing, find this and update it.
Yeah, because honestly, I feel like that's one of the things I've been struggling with, and I've been using our IT ServiceNow portal for years, and I still struggle with the navigation within the menu, right? And when I see the navigation for EC Pro, I'm still like, is that going to be easy and intuitive for our content creators to kind of know which one to go to and remember the terms and all of that? And part of that comes, I think, just with time using the product, right? But
Sure.
As opposed to just a button right there in front, right front and center where you want it to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've definitely been giving that feedback to our product team for a long time. That was a SharePoint replacement. This was a replacement of a couple technologies. I can't remember which ones they were off the top of my head. This is Rocket Mortgage.
Yep.
They also spoke here. This was really a communications-led initiative. And this is Ashley Scholl. She's on the communications team. She's a project manager. She's saying when we unveiled our Rocket World portal, our C-suite actually applauded. And she said, I've never heard them clap for anything before. So that's the kind of impact you can have with these. But I will say too, this was led by communications, but certainly in conjunction with IT, because the other big driver that I hear a lot of customers are moving this direction is what I call digital sprawl. They say we have this proliferation of portals and information is fragmented, applications are disjointed, and we want to create one starting point for everybody to be able to find whatever they need. And so, the integrations within ServiceNow, being able to take people into other systems with context can be very, very valuable. This is E&J Gallo Winery. This was another SharePoint replacement. So Frank Martin, their ServiceNow admin, he did this himself. So this is essentially EC Pro with a little bit of styling to round the corners and change the shape and arrangement of the widgets. They call this Grapevine. They still have SharePoint sites out there. So for SharePoint, especially when the site is sort of document-centric, it's got documents, spreadsheets, whatever else kind of files, I think it actually makes sense to kind of leave that there. When it's more informational based, I think it's a good idea to bring that into ServiceNow as a microsite. But the thing is, what you probably know is our AI search can index SharePoint and it can bring back results. Now, there's a free connector that we provide to SharePoint online, and I'm emphasizing online because
I know I've caught that. Yes, I'm aware of that.
But there is a connector sold on the ServiceNow store, along with about 20 or 40 others actually, by a partner named Raytion. And they have one to SharePoint on premise as well.
Okay.
And so Raytion is Raytion. And therefore, you could index SharePoint on premise as well. And people, when they search here in ServiceNow, they would find that. And it's with permissions intact and with relevancy.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the things, like right now I've got pages of quote unquote pages of content, right? But it's going to be some content and then it's going to be some documents and then it might be a video, right? And then content and then some more documents like that. I'm still trying to feel out what that experience is going to be like. And maybe I won't know that ahead of time, but like I have several of those instances where the documents, right, are living right there within. I don't want to have it doesn't seem intuitive for me as a user to have to go someplace else to see a document.
Right.
Or to find the, to get the documents.
Yeah. I'll show you our two flavors of microsites, the one we call microsites and the other dynamic topic pages. We can talk about where they're suitable. You can see like Frank's comments here is, our employees have fallen madly in love with AI search. They did not have a good search experience before. Their communication team loves the personalization that comes with content publishing. So this is a big step up over what they had before. You can see they're taking advantage of things like Approvals Hub. So they're bringing in tasks from other systems so people can take action on them here. And he said people love having single sign-on access to their favorite applications through App Launcher.
Yeah. Which, so, I mean, that's just expected, right? So we've had that.
Okay.
That's not going to excite our people. So.
Okay. All right. NASCAR, Chris Tozier here. This was sort of an IT-led initiative. He did a webinar with us back in September. This I just put together so you can kind of see the different look and feel. You referenced Amdocs. They did this years and years ago before I even knew customers were doing this, and they did it themselves.
Wow.
But this is before we even had EC Pro. So what they did is they, they had some web developers and they were able to create this nice interface that was suited for their environment. We're starting to get a lot of recognition now. So we were just mentioned in a Forrester report. We were just mentioned in a partner report. We don't have access to distribute those. I can give you the names of them. We just won this award from Nielsen Norman Group. This is for our internal intranet, which is based on our own technology, of course. And then here's the other two that I was just mentioning here. And then this is one that I think will be really good for you to go back and watch if you weren't able to join us live.
Yep, I did watch that one. I was on that one.
Okay, all right. Like, Chris and I think Stuart, they both mentioned how they have hundreds of content creators. And Chris was really talking about his team's role in making sure that the content is high quality and the level of trust that they provide people as well.
Yeah, that was one of the things we had a reference call with another ServiceNow customer yesterday, and that's what they're kind of still in that process of internal communications, kind of doing everything, but they want to work towards that. Whereas we kind of let anybody create all the content themselves, and like there is no approval process, right? If the ED department wants to post something to their ED team, they're going to post it out there on their own without any approvals. So we're working through that process, and I think that'll be one of those things that we refine as we move down the road.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a project planned for University of Wisconsin Health. That's they're in the middle of it right now because they're actually coming towards the end. They're working with Thirdera. And I like this project plan because it's very comprehensive. For them, for some customers, like say E&J Gallo, that might have been 3 months worth of time.
Right.
Small and not too complex in their hierarchy. But a large university hospital system, it is a little more complex. So you can see here, they did their UI UX workshops, developed wireframes, did mock-ups. Had a naming contest as well. They looked at content migration. We'll talk about that a little bit more, some of the decision-making. But they also put together their governance charter, right? Who can publish what, where, to whom, which audiences. They developed their taxonomy. As part of this, they're also doing some training. So training their communications people on content publishing and campaigns. And all this down here in the gray is the different integrations that they're putting in place. They're real excited about this. Can't remember exactly when they're going to go live. I'm going to say March. But this has been a really good project from everything that I've heard from them. Wow. I will say too,
cool.
Yeah, I have hidden slides in here. Where are you based, by the way?
Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, yeah. I didn't give much information on me. Yeah, right there.
Gotcha. All right. So this is you here?
Yep, okay. That's us.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so I'd heard that you were looking at this, and in your email address it said e-community. I think I didn't make the connection necessarily. But I referenced UW Health. Nebraska Methodist is in the process of looking for a partner right now. Christus Health is moving ahead. They're replacing Digital Signal with a partner named Cask. Common Spirit Health actually did this, and Centura Health did too. But then Common Spirit acquired Centura Health. But Common Spirit did this a while ago, and now they're actually working with Thirdera to come up with version 2.0. And Christopher Burns there, who you can see his quote, he actually has a goal of winning Nielsen Norman Group's top 10 internet awards next year. And he said, I've cleared a space on my desk for our trophy.
Yeah, yes, that would be, that would be very nice. Yeah, I applied when we did ours, and we've had ours for 5 years. So I thought we were good, but yeah, we didn't make the top 10, that's for sure.
Yeah. This is their version 1 here. And it's actually been very well adopted. In fact, they didn't actually necessarily replace their intranet site when they came out with this, but they incorporated the news, and this became so popular that nobody went to the intranet anymore. That was Christopher's approach. He said, I didn't want to fight the battle at that time to just replace it. He said, I just wanted to create something that was better and provided everything that the intranet does and make it essentially obsolete. Which he was successful in. So, and then they went on to roll out our now mobile app as well, which is fairly basic here, but getting the job done. And I should say, other hidden slides here, you talk about news interactions, Paramount put that in place years ago. I've seen other customers do that too. So This is something you could do with your partner, or you could, wait and hope that we'll come out with it in August.
Okay.
I actually have it mocked up in an environment which I showed to our product team just recently. I had a junior developer build this out for me, just to show that it's possible.
Right.
And I showed it to our product team last week. So I can't guarantee it's going to look like this.
Right. Sure.
It's not ExxonMobil's real environment, but they're looking at replacing Sitecore with ServiceNow. And, the news interactions are pretty, you would expect to have those. So for example, if I go into a particular news article here, one where it's been designated, because you can say optionally allow commenting, optionally allow sharing, right?
Yeah, that's huge for us. Actually, right before I jumped on the call with you, I received a call that yes, there's going to be one of those where we need to turn off comments today. We're going to post it today, and we don't want any comments on it. And so yeah, that's a big part of our current, especially during COVID-19, right? There was a lot of stuff that we needed to get out there, but we didn't want to have people commenting on stuff because wild west out there. So
sure,
that's really nice.
Yeah, so she built this out over the course of a couple of days. We also have this concept of sharing with a colleague, with a person, or maybe being able to share out to social media, so that each individual employee can be encouraged to share something. Like, let's say you win a Best Place to Work award and you want them to share it. You could, and this is not out of the box, but you could allow them to either interface with another system that you have that already does this. At ServiceNow, we use something called Sprinkler. Or you could build out direct integrations. I have a partner who has a solution that essentially does that. And so if you did want to encourage people to share something on X or Facebook or LinkedIn, you could go that step, that final step as well.
And that would be something that you can turn on and off per article as well?
Sure, that's just a checkbox.
Yeah.
In fact, that's exactly how I told her to build it, and she did. So it's just a checkbox when you create the news article. Do you want to allow commenting? Do you want to allow sharing?
Perfect. Okay.
External sharing. Cool. Yeah. So in ServiceNow, are you familiar with topic pages and microsites?
A little bit, yes. I've kind of seen them. I'm still trying to grasp the differences between them, but I've heard the terms and I've kind of seen. I don't know that I've really seen a good microsite with all of the different elements, right? When I think of a site, I think of a main page, right? And then you might have multiple other pages, and then you're going to have some links and some other resources and that kind of thing. So I haven't seen it all together with multiple pages and that kind of thing, but
yeah, fair enough. Ours, I've heard them call it different things, but it might be better to call it a microsite page. We do support tabbing, but it's not going to have its own header menu structure.
Okay.
So a dynamic topic page is driven by the taxonomy. So basically how things are tagged is going to determine how they show up here. But you can have delegation. So you could have one or a few people who are given access to this topic. And that's how you control who can manage this page. And this is an announcement here. So you can have an announcement banner. You can have long form content by putting a hidden widget on here that they populate using the rich content editor. You can have catalog requests, knowledge articles, news. You can have applications. You can have links. You can also modify these. So you could add components. So if you wanted to have, in addition to links, you wanted maybe some documents on here that were essentially links going into SharePoint, you could add another widget for that. Now, these are designed to all have a very similar look and feel. You can make exceptions. You can have one that looks different from the others. You can also change the base layout for what these look like. But essentially, they are specifically designed to look very similar to one another in terms of their layout.
Yeah.
And again, you can delegate out who controls these. So if it fits well into the taxonomy, then the dynamic topic pages are a good candidate for it. Let's say you have something that doesn't fit well in the taxonomy, like you want a cultural page or an equity, inclusion, and diversity page. Then it might be better option for a microsite. And we just have a few options. These can look however you would like. But this uses the rich content editor to allow a non-technical person to just be able to drag and drop and create a site. We also have some templates, so you can give them a good starting point, so they're not suffering from analysis paralysis. And so you're right, we don't include like a different menu header to different pages here, but we do provide tabbing. So if they have different content and they want to create sort of a tabbed experience, they can do that. Are you familiar with grapes.js?
It doesn't sound familiar now.
That's okay. That is the technology behind the rich content editor. But, you know, for the communications people, you know, they'll be using this interface a lot.
Right.
It's really kind of I'm in an old environment here. Sorry. So this doesn't even have the news in it yet. But this is where they could, you know, create content that's going to go on the portal, and they can schedule it, they can target it, it can go through whatever approval process you want to designate for it. Or if they want, I
think that's a pretty good, like I've walked through that a few times, and so that I think is pretty intuitive and straightforward. I think especially once we get, you know, from a news article perspective, once we get templates in there so that they're not having to, you know, build their own article every time. I think it's a smooth experience.
Good.
It's just getting to this spot, right?
So yeah, but I do get it. Like, let's say you're Maria and you own this page. Like, how do you remember to get back to here and find that content? It would be so nice if there was a little pencil up here or an edit button that just took you to that. And that is what they are going to try to come out with this year as well, is having this navigate you directly into the record that you want to modify or create a new version of, really, because we have versioning. So, all right, I've spoken a ton and probably
that's exactly, this is what I needed. I just, I needed to see some more of it. So, because I know you're still a fairly young platform when it comes to internet, and so, you know, you've got your growth and your time, you know, it takes to build up all of this. So just kind of understanding it, seeing how others have used it is super helpful. So I really appreciate your time on short notice.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the benefits are great. Every customer that I've spoken to, you know, is really, really ecstatic about the transformation they're able to create. And, you know, we don't really call what we offer an intranet because I think what we offer really transcends the traditional intranet of the past, which were just for employee communications. You know, it's employee communications, it's service management together in a way that's very intelligent and highly integrated. And, you know, that's like even the director of internal communications, Chris Smith at Rocket Mortgage, he said when they were looking at solutions, they didn't want something that was just for communications. You know, they looked at First Up, which I think owns Digital Signal. They looked at you. They looked at it, they were like, that's all they do. And we wanted something that was a combination of, you know, both. So hopefully this gives you enough to, you know, be confident to keep moving forward and having, you know, more conversations with Henry or whoever you choose to speak with.
Okay. No, I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the time. And this is super helpful. Yeah. I'm definitely on your SIG group, and I was glad to be able to jump in on that last one with the three of them. So
good.
I mean, it's just a big learning curve, right? So
I will probably send you an invitation today for the next one. I was waiting for Organon to sort of approve what I had in my invitation, but
perfect.
I've been waiting long enough. I think I'm going to send it out.
Do it this week before, you know, everybody leaves and nobody's around.
Right.
So cool. Well, thank you for the extra time and really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you later.